So, hello and welcome to our Intro to Shelly webinar series. My name is Roger Winnick. I'm from Digital Baytech, and we are going to see how Shelly can help you with their innovative solutions for measurement, automation, and control. These are the contents that we will try to cover during this session. There are many things, some of them we might left for offline reading. So don't worry, we will share all the information later for you. So talking about the challenges in our smart home industry, there are many, some of them general, some are on the professional side. So there are many manufacturers, protocols, platforms. There's no common language between many of the brands and different platforms. And so it's really a complex way or a complex industry. There's a lack of reliability and also support. And there are some constraints regarding the closed platforms in order to share all the devices together. And well, talking about more the professional side, there's lack of functionalities, the expensive devices or how much they cost. Whenever you need to implement something, or if you are facing a retrofit project, or you need to rewire many things in order to make them smart or to add smart devices. We already said complex systems and also about integrations on closed systems. And well, let's see how Shelly can help you to achieve many things. So talking about Shelly, if you don't know about the brand and company, it's an European company founded in Bulgaria. They are for IoT products. The main focus are IoT products. And they have been in the market for several years, getting one really great milestone in the beginning of this year, 2024, hitting 10 million devices sold within the market. So they are continually growing on a year-on-year basis, and they are keep innovating and bringing more new products on the market. So what's the power on Shelly or about Shelly? Basically, it's the combination of many things. As we were looking at the challenges, we can rely on Shelly for a complete solution. It's really user-friendly. We are going to see some things on the Shelly app. They have power metering or energy consumption devices that's really critical right now or during the last years, and the market is going green. The customers are bringing more attention on their carbon footprint, and if not on that side, obviously on their wallet. So having devices that you can measure the energy consumption and then make some actions based on that, it contributes to the sustainability and for saving energy and water. So you have also value for money. They are really affordable devices that can help you in different cases when you're maybe with a constrained budget, or you run out of budget within a project. It can really save you on those situations. It's really good for retrofit. Not only for retrofit, you can also implement those on new constructions and new buildings, new projects. But it's really great for retrofitting because you don't need a rewiring. And also you can reutilize the devices like a wall switch, so you don't need to change everything. They have many advanced options from scripting, so it's not only the functionality that is already embedded or available within the device or the different applications, but you can also enhance that using scripting. They are highly compatible. We are going to, well, we see here, not only with proprietary systems as Control4, URC, Charge, Elan, Crestron, you name it, there's almost or a native driver or third-party driver that you can use in order to add the devices within that platform, but also with voice assistants like Google Home or Amazon Alexa, and also other open source platforms like Home Assistant, Habitat, or community platform, let's say, and smart things. And not only on that, you also have the ability to connect them through MQTT, webhooks, and open API. So if you are doing an a project which needs to be embedded within other platform, or you are building your own platform, they are really, really helpful. And last but not least, regarding the protection of the data, as it is a European-based company, it really cares about privacy data, and they are compliant with the GDPR, all the servers, in case you want to share something within the cloud or store something on the cloud, they are going to be under GDPR policies. And you have also the ability to run everything locally without any cloud or any sharing those devices. And regarding with one of the challenges was talking about reliability. So in order to show you how much confident they are, these devices, we are offering a lifetime warranty on all the devices that are installed through a professional installer, okay, within the US market. So this is a really, really sign of confidence that we have on the Shelly devices. So which is the ecosystem, the Shelly ecosystem? It's not only about products, it's also about the solution. So you can use it as a standalone, let's say, or within their Shelly app itself with no subscription, something that the customer also are really looking for. But as we saw, we can also use them in order to connect or integrate with other proprietary platforms. But the good thing, or the highlight here, is a whole ecosystem comprised from control devices, the ProDIN Rail series. So you can have automations from the main box, the Plus Mini or Shen 3 series that you can turn almost any electrical circuit into smart, the sensors and plug and play devices, and then the energy metering, some relays on some specifically just for energy metering devices. So we are going to go a little bit deeper, not so much because there are many devices, but we are going to highlight some things and also show some real case here with our demo house. So regarding on the Shelly app, you can, it's a really user-friendly application, really useful for customers that can start to control everything, or maybe you can use it as an entry-level point. So they start having electrical or lining control, and then keep adding more things on top. So you can do it gradually. It will allow you to monitor, to control, to automate. You can create different groups, different scenes, different routines. So whether on the sunrise, sunset, within a certain time of the day. So many things that you have or not have maybe in some other automation platforms, you can find them on the Shelly app. And it's really intuitive and easy to add those things or to automate or to create those automations. And also they have the alarm feature. So for the sensors door window sensors or motion sensors. You can create also different areas for the alarm and enable or disable those different zones. So there are many relays. I don't want to cover or to overwhelm you with all these different relays that are available, but the main thing I want to for you to keep in mind that there's almost one relay available for every need. So we can go from start here from the Shelly plus 1 p.m. different main differences without or with power metering, and then we get into 2 channels, the plus 2 p.m. So it's really good for 2 different lining circuits or bidirectional motors, blinds control. If you have blinds that are motorized but not smart, you can make them smart very easy using this device. And they also have the power measuring. And then we have the dimmer 2, the RGBW2. So dimmer 2 basically to use with any kind of dimmerizing valve or line. And the RGBW2 for any LED strip or controller. You can control up to 4 different, let's say, white strips or one RGBW. And you can make them or connect many together based on the wattage and the amperage that you will need to cover. Then we have the new, one of the latest releases, the plus dimmer 0-10 volts. So basically for all 0-10 volts circuits. Then we go into the Shelly plus 1.4 and 1.4 DC. They are not relays. They are smart controllers, electrical controllers, and they have 4 different inputs. So you can create 4 different actions based on those inputs. So they are basically helping you to trigger different actions based on those inputs. We are going to see it just in a few seconds how we can use it. The Shelly Uni and Plus Uni, they are the tiniest relays that are right now in the market. And they are really versatile in order to add them different kind of sensors. So you can have more inputs in order to make some automations. You can use them for garage control or, for example, irrigation systems. You can add a moisture sensor to it and make an automation based on the real data, on the real humidity percentage, not on some forecast on whatever, something else. And here at the bottom, the Shen 3 minis, they are basically more or less similar to the plus 1 p.m. and the power metering only. And they are going to change on the amps that they handle. Instead of 16, they are 8 amps. And they are really, really, really tiny. This is, for example, one of them. And you can see in my hand how small it is. And this one, for example, is the plus 1 p.m. So they are really, really small, and you can add them whenever you can or whenever you need. And speaking of this, so this is for a real example or a really easy way to see how we can connect it. So this is the plus 1 p.m. This is a regular switch. So just adding that into the electrical circuit, we have the neutral on the line that you need to connect. That's gonna give energy to the relay, and then we have the switch that's here and the output that goes to the light. So just with adding the smart relay, any of those smart relays mainly, you can turn the circuit into smart and keeping your physical device connected. So let me show you. I'm gonna share something here. Give me just a second. And I will share this. Okay, so now you should be taking a look at this. So this is exactly what we have here. So there's a regular switch. So we have the ability to control it here through the light, through the regular switch. And also we can create some automations. So what we have here is a smart sensor, a motion sensor. So you can see how we can connect a motion sensor with a regular switch and the smart relay. And we keep having the ability to turn it off manually. The same thing or similar thing, what we have here are two RGBWs. Show here, RGBWs. They are connected to this LED strip. So when, for example, I have a button, so when I click the button, I'm going to turn everything on. And if I do a long push, it's just a second, this it's going to turn everything off. Sorry, I missed. I did the long push. Yes, I did. So in the same way, we can have, let's say, a main controller switch on the main door, on the entrance. So this is an example of how I can make one click and I have all the lights on. I can do a long push and the same thing, all the lights off. Or I can make a different scene. For example, one click, move it here, double click, you will change it to another color, 3 clicks to blue, and etc. There's another thing that we can do. If I click, no, this one was with the smart bulb that we don't have right now connected. So this one is gonna turn the light that is out there. There's another one in the front. And we can turn everything on again, just doing a long push. And what we have here is what I have been talking about, the controller. So this one is an i4. So what we have here are 4 inputs, one for each button. And what you are doing here is based on the different kind of combination of the buttons, you are triggering some different actions or scenes. So you can trigger one light or many lights, as we have been showing here. So there are many, many different possibilities. There on the front door, there's the door and window sensor. So what we have here, when we open it, it's turning, sorry about this, but we are turning this light on the outside. And we can also trigger the alarm, as we have been talking about. Let me close it. And the lights, the outdoor lights are off. And here is a sensor, a flat sensor. So we are going to see later how we can use it in conjunction with, for example, a smart bulb in order to avoid any further leaks or, to avoid further cost also when we have some flood within our house. So let me share again the presentation, and we will see here. So I should be back. Perfect. So let me change instead of the presentation, go into the Shelly app. So this is the Shelly app. And what I want to show you is how things have been, for example, on the energy consumption. If I go to history, we can see here all the different consumptions that we have been triggering when we were, let's say, playing with a little house. So we have the different areas, the bedroom, the outdoor front, the living room, the main entrance, and the kitchen when there are no measuring there. But let me, for example, if I go to, let's go to the main dashboard that you can create by your own and turn everything on. So it's similar what we have been doing with the buttons or with the wall switch. And now if we go to the energy panel, we are going to see all the information there. So we have obviously the main box that's getting all the consumption for the whole house. That would be a Pro 3M, an EM, those kind of devices. Then on the bedroom, we are seeing here a lighting, a smart a bulb. The outdoor front and the living room both are RGBW strips. So we are going to be able to check on real time how much all the different circuits are consuming, and you can trigger, you can act based on those consumption and make some further automations. On the same way, you can create different rooms, different places, and you're going to have all the devices within that room. So you can just turn it off. You can have thermostat within a different room. And here's the one that we have the motion sensor. So we have no motion. If I move it as I did before, you see that it triggers the motion and also start or turn on the light that we have here in the another room in the bedroom. And I was mentioning about the alarm, so you can create different areas, different zones, and just turn them on individually or together. You see how they turn, all the alarms are. So what you are going to have here is basically a phone, and within the application, you are going to have your notification, and you can also create some specific scenes or routines in order to activate more things like a physical siren or some other stuff like turning the lights on. You can create more things based on that, or just using the motion and the door sensors to trigger an alert within your cell phone. So let me go back again to the presentation and we move from there. Okay, this is how easy it is to install the Plus One PM. We have, or we already did an example of this, how we connect it. And that's it. You already have that connected. When you have the energy, you start the provisioning process within the app. You can connect it through the Wi-Fi, through the specific IP that it has been assigned, or you can also enable the Bluetooth and add it from Bluetooth. That's the Bluetooth in this case. It's just for provisioning and being able to have that device as a Bluetooth bridge for the Bluetooth devices. Okay, so going to next line, there's the Pro line that are the DIN rail mounted. So basically, you will be able to have full automation and control from the main box. It's going to be within the breaker. It's not a replacement, it's on top of that. So you are going to have the breaker and then the smart relays. So the breaker is going to keep the whole security, and the pro devices are going to have the control and the automation with those circuits. Similar to the other devices, the Plus or Gen 3 or Minis, we have different amount of channels and also rated different amps. So from one channel with dry relays to 1 p.m. with power metering, the Pro 2 with 2 channels, and also dry contacts. Basically, the ones that do not have power metering have dry contacts. That's more or less an easy way to remind it. The Shelly, well, the Pro 2 PM, the 2 channels and two outlets with power measuring, and the Pro 3 channels, the dual cover specifically for usage with the blinds and shutters and some other bidirectional motors. So you are going to be able to automate them or to make them smart. As it has 4 channels, you will be able to control 2 of them, 2 motors. And the Shelly Pro 4 PM, it has 4 different channels for 4 different circuits. Not there, but we also have in the Pro line the LAN switch. So the Pro line has the ability or the characteristic, one of main one, is you have LAN control. You can connect through Ethernet, not only Wi-Fi, but also through LAN. So in this way, you need to get you can get just one LAN cable into the main box, and then send 4 different to 4 different devices using the LAN switch. It's a 10-100 LAN switch because they are really not need more broadband. The IoT devices really don't weigh or don't need too much broadband, so it's really helpful on that. So what we can do, or what are the main characteristics with the Pro devices? You can use them along with some contactors, for example, to control 240 appliances or motors also, different circuits. Some main or really useful features that we have regarding security. They have, I mentioned that you use them along with the breaker. They are not a replacement, they work with, but they have some security measures like temperature protection, overload protection, over voltage protection, and flame retardant. So if you have an overloading, they are going to shut off. The same with an over voltage, they are going to shut down in order to avoid the Shelly device itself and also the appliance that is connected to it to avoid any problem. Sensors and flags, there are also many different devices that we can use to create different scenes and automations from a standard Shelly flag that is not that standard. You have the button to control it physically. They also have power metering, and you can also have over voltage and those on those security features. So they are going also to shut down. So it looks simple, but it's really powerful. You can use them, for example, to recycle LAN equipment as a router, or you can also download an script, an available script that it's there on GitHub, and you can use it to do a ping to your network and be able to identify when you are losing the connectivity. So those are some of the use cases. Also, for example, for maybe medical equipment like an oxygen machine or some others, you can also use it with a UPS, and you can alert when the machine is turning off or when you are losing the yeah, and a power outage. Then we have the buttons, similar like this one, but they are blue. The blue buttons, the low energy Bluetooth devices that are really very useful for long-term savings on regarding the batteries. The door window, the one that we saw on the demo house, the same on the Blue Motion. The Blue Gateway is basically if you don't have any other device that you can use as a bridge, then you will add just the dongle, the Bluetooth dongle, into any USB port, and then you will be able to connect all the Bluetooth devices just from them to the Shelly app. So it's a gateway from the Bluetooth to the Wi-Fi. The smart bulbs, the Shelly flat that we already seen it. The HNT, the humidity and temperature sensor with ink display, and I don't have here one. There's another one just without the display. The Shelly gas, it's a gas sensor for liquid petroleum or compressed natural gas. So both for tanks or for natural gas that you have within a house. And it's gonna allow you to, well, obviously to check when there's a gas leak, but also you can add a gas add-on manipulator. It's basically like something to trigger off the main valve. So not only to detect when there's a gas leak, but also to do some action and to shut it down. The energy meter line, there are many different also devices. I mentioned all of them, that all of the ones that have PM stands for power metering. So they allow you to control, to check the energy meter or the consumption. And then we have the specific ones that are have the ability to control or not the devices, but you can add, in case if it do not have it, an add-on to get a contact of control. So Shelly Pro 3M, for example, it comes with 3 120 amps clamps or 400 amps for really commercial circuits. There are many different ways that you can use it: three-phase or multi-phase or one phase with 3 circuits. There are some different wirings that you can use them. And they're everything that you want to know more detail. They are all on the specifications and also on the different wiring diagrams that are available in our site or in the knowledge base, in the Shelly knowledge base. And all those links are at the end of the presentation on the annex with the useful links. So this one is the 50 amps version. Let's say it's the professional version of this one, the Shelly EM. And we already mentioned the Pro line and the Plus, the other ones. Okay, the latest releases. As I was mentioning at the beginning, Shelly continually launch new products within the market, and this is the brand new C-Wave line that it's coming from on June here on the US. And they are going to be obviously the US frequency, C-Wave frequency, and they are going to work with every C-Wave hub as they are standards. So as we have been looking at the different lines, you can connect or you can see that are mostly the same ones, but with a C-Wave protocol. So on the relays, we will have the wave 1 or wave 1 p.m., the wave 2 or wave 2 p.m., the iForce, the digital controllers that we saw on the demo, they're also coming in AC or only DC. And the wave shutter is like the 2 p.m., but specifically for blinds, shutters, and bidirectional motors. And obviously also here it's in white, maybe it's not so clear to see it, but there's the wave plug US. Then we have the mini relays, the same line, the 1 mini, the 1 PM with power metering, and the PM mini just with power metering. And regarding this, for example, a use case would be to use it behind the outlet, the wall outlet where you have connected your fridge. And if you care about, okay, what happens if the relay fries? They are internally, they are disconnected. So even when the relay, or in this case, it's not a relay, but when the device won't stop working for any case, the electricity goes will still flow through it, and let's say in this example, the fridge will keep getting the energy and will not shut down. And last but not least, the Pro DIN-Ray line, also the Pro 1, the Pro 1 PM, the Pro 2, and the Pro 2 PM. So they are coming next month. So any question that you have also on this one, just let us know, send us an email. You have our contact. If not, yeah, at the end of the presentation, they are also our contact information. Okay, I will go a little bit faster because there are some other things that I will like to cover. So some of these ones we already covered looking or taking an overview on the devices. So I will keep it for you just to check, but they are the latest also releases before the C-Wave line. And something, yeah, just maybe to highlight, for example, the Shelly, the Plus Uni, it's the new version of the tiny relay, the Uni. And a really good feature that it has right now, it's the pulse counting feature. So you can add, along with a water metering, a gas metering, or an energy metering, smart, and you will be able to have your own counting for those. Yeah, for those, either is energy, water, or gas. So it's really helpful also that will allow you to make maybe some automations also. So in case you get some specific consumption, you can act on those values. This is our exclusive line here in the US. We have the Pro kits that are, some of them I already mentioned, but I will highlight couple of, or mainly 2 seconds on each one because they're really, or more than 2 seconds because they are really useful. And so I mentioned about the flat. Okay, so using a smart bulb that you can connect to the main, you will be able not just to get the flood information, but also to act and close the main valve. So if your customers are they have a vacation house that they cannot reach at time, this is really useful because, well, you can shut down everything or shut down the main valve, and you avoid any further water leak. And obviously you will be saving money on those repairs. And not only that, but you can, having the flood sensors and also the smart valve, you can tell your customer that they will have insurance savings because you are having some let's say countermeasure devices or something to realize when you are getting a flood or a water leak. The same case could apply with the gas sensor. Okay, and I mentioned that the Pro line works really well also for contactors. So you can have a 3M, for example, here. We have two kits, one just for controlling and the another one to measure and control. So this one is with a 3M that allows you to measure your consumption and then trigger or control a contactor, so you can act based on that energy consumption. So you will be able to select to automate the trigger of some appliances based on when you hit a certain a certain consumption, or you can use it, for example, also with solar panels to get when if you are getting generation from that solars, and trigger from the solar or to the grid based on that metering. And here on the right, it's just for appliance control. So if you have washer dryers or some other motors, 240 volt motors, you can use, in this example, a Pro One within a contactor, and then you can control those appliances or those devices. The kit also came with this IP rated box that is not just for well, not only has the IP rating, but they are made also within a certain material that will allow you the Wi-Fi. And we have been testing that, or Shelly have been testing that. So it will allow the Wi-Fi signal to get into the box. And if you don't have space within the main breaker box, you can put it aside. Or if you are using, for example, the application control kit to control a pool pump, then you can leave it outside because are IP rated. Okay, all the Shelly devices are Wi-Fi based, except for, well, not all, except for the Z-Wave devices that are Z-Wave and the Bluetooth that are Bluetooth. So it's not just all the devices, but they have Wi-Fi. And the ones that have Wi-Fi, they require 2.4 gigahertz. And they are also able to be used as a range extender. You can activate the AP feature. And as I was mentioning, IoT devices do not need so much, or these ones at least do not need so much broadband. So you can use them in like creating, let's say, a mesh network or to reach another Shelly device that is near. The Bluetooth, all the plus line and Gen 3 line comes with the Bluetooth feature that you can activate for inclusion process within the app, or to use it as a gateway for the Bluetooth devices. And the Pro line, those are the ones that have the LAN connection, the RJ45. So you can also do a mix, getting one Pro device with the Ethernet connectivity and then activate the IP to extend the Wi-Fi to other. So you can make some different combinations. Okay, I'm gonna skip the solution and use cases because I have already shown some things within our demo house, and you can check this later offline. But there you're gonna see some different ways to mix relays and bulbs or physical devices, non-smart, to make them smart, with motion sensor to activate or deactivate different lights. So you can see some different ways to do it. And in any case, if you have some use case or some project that you are working on and you are going to work in, and you need some advice, which is the best device to implement or to achieve this, just also get in contact with us, give us a call, send us an email, and we can help you obviously with that project or with that use case. So some other ones that we already cover or we already mentioned about blinds or curtains or shutters control. Garage door, it's really useful. The plus one or the mini one are really, or even the plus unit can work to automate any garage motor. So really useful for that. You can use the plus one or the pro ones to control water heating devices or pumps. And I mentioned about the usage of external sensors to automate the irrigations based on real data and not forecasts. Okay, I'm going to cover the integration with Control 4 and some also with URC. We are going to see some pictures and some information on that. Let me check on the clock. Okay, and then we will cover some other stuff regarding the Shelly app that we already seen some things. So I'm gonna check the remaining time to see what we can cover. So what we recommend for Control 4 is the Chomain Shelly suite. Is our partner for all the Shelly devices, and they have many years within the market developing many drivers for different brands and different platforms. And what you are going to see when you use their driver within Control 4 for Shelly, they are really, you are going to have a real good integration, a seamless integration. And they communicate very well with all the devices. Regarding Shelly, it's really a cost-effective solution when you integrate them with Control 4, and it's gonna give you, for those hard scenarios, or maybe if you want to download your cost, it's something that you will find very useful for those projects and those situations. You will be able to enhance your automation capabilities using the Shell devices, even from the sensors or from the relays. You're going to see how they can help you with those complex. If you want or you can't, for example, pull a cable to a certain location as they are Wi-Fi, you can use them, and they are really, as I was mentioning, they are using 2.4, and they don't need too much broadband, or let's say low broadband. So you are going to have that connectivity there, and they are going to save you time and money on those situations. And even though in regular situations or regular scenarios, you can also use them. About scalability, Chomain is continually updating the driver. So every time there are new devices within the market, they are continuously upgrading the driver in order to achieve or to add those new things. I mentioned about the performance. They are gonna you're gonna have a really reliable situation there. within the driver and the devices. We are going to see how, or yeah, not completely, but there's how to set up and how easy it is to customize the devices. And something that we were speaking, the market is going green, so you are going to have that that information, that feature within your customers' projects using all the power measuring devices. So how do you use it? When you get into the Control 4, you're gonna add the Shelly Cloud from Chomain. It says Shelly Cloud, but it's just the name, the agent. It do not need the cloud. You can use the cloud at the beginning as a best practice to provision or to get all the devices that are already present within the network. So if you're ready, it's a best practice to add them on the Shelly app and then go to Control 4, install the agent, and configure the key that you have within your app, and it wanna detect all the Shelly devices that are already there within the same network. So it's gonna be really easy to add those devices into Control 4. And when you do that, you're gonna handle. Let me go to the next one. So when you add those devices, you're gonna handle the devices like any other device within the system design tree. You're gonna be able to configure or to set certain properties and then see different inputs to automate or to create those different scenes or routines. And here in the right, it's, for example, the agent that I was mentioning that you need to install, and then the different drivers that are divided based on the generation of the shell devices. This one, for example, is new generation for generation 2. It stands for all the plus Pro devices. The generation 1 are the first one, for example, the Shelly flag or the button. Those are Gen 1 devices. And there's some specific driver to control or to give more features for Lightning devices. So when you add or when you have those devices within the configuration, you will see all the properties like any other device, and you will be able to set the different properties. In this case, it's a valve, so you are going to be able to put the color or the brightness, and also get that information as an input. This one, for example, is a door window sensor, an old version, but it's the same idea. You will be able to check all the features or the properties. For example, here the battery capacity. What else? Well, obviously the sensor state. In this case, it had a tilt sensor, so the degrees of that tilt, and vibration. They have tamper also features, so you will be able to have all the information or all the properties, all the data in order to make the automations that you want. So it's really, really easy to add them, and they are going to be many benefits for you, not only on the cost side, but also on the feature side. Similarly, with URC, main difference, I would say that URC has their own native, and they develop their integration, their driver. So you're gonna find it directly there in the URC site. And similarly to Control 4, when you add the driver and you start adding the Shelly devices, you will see which are the devices that are available, and you will be able to also from the property manager to control or to see, to set or to see the different inputs or data on those devices, even if it's sensor, relay. So the events to trigger the different actions. And on the same way, similarly to Control 4, you will be able just to use them within UI. Okay, Product Spotlight, I will skip it. So in order to round up here, because we are almost on time, but please take a look at it later. This is how you can control or specifically talking about monitoring and saving energy. You can tell your customers that they can gain up to 40% less on electricity bills. So if they are aware about sustainability and they want to get more into that, it's a really good way to add the devices and start saving energy and water. Okay, this video on how to add devices within the Shelly app itself. I already shown you how some things on the Shelly app, but let me show you here. Go again. So here you have the add device. Well, I'm doing this from the web page. The look and feel it's the same within a computer, a notebook browser, than in the application on your cell phone. But you are not able to add devices from the notebook, from the browser. You need to do it from the application, from the cell phone app. So let me go again, but basically we'll check on add device and you will have the different ways to add it, either from scanning the network and detecting automatically the devices that are connected, or using the specific IP address of the device, or even using the Bluetooth if you have activated that. So you can also add them that way. Here's exactly what I was mentioning. With a Wi-Fi scan, you have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi as the devices are, and please be sure that you are on the 2.4 gigahertz network. So when you add it, you will select the room, first the device name, then add it to a certain room, and then you will be able to control it and make later some grouping or scenes, routines that you will like to. And something really useful, and it's uh, a best practice when you connect the initial device when they are energized. They are going to broadcast an IP. So if you check on the Wi-Fi and you connect to their specific IP, then you go to this web server address that they have. This is the address, and you're going to access the specific web server configuration for that device. So there you can go to the internet and security. It's going to change a little bit, maybe if it's a generation 1, generation 2, or generation 3. The look and feel here on the properties, but the main thing is that you can go there on the internet and security and configure your networks, a primary one, a backup network, and those different things. Update once you have that, you can update the firmware directly from the web server. It's gonna change obviously because when it's connected to the internet or to your Wi-Fi local network, let's say. Obviously the IP address is going to change, but using that IP address, it's going to open the same thing. And regarding security, if you don't want it to do it, you can deactivate the IP. So it's not gonna broadcast anymore that that network. Okay, talking about groups, I will leave you this one for you later, so you can check on some other features. On the advanced configuration, so something really useful, not just the ability to do some scenes and routines based on the using the Shelly app or the scenes by itself, but you can also use webhooks or HTTP commands. So, for example, on one action, let me go here and show you that. So I will go here, all the devices, and let me, for example, select this one, the 4 buttons controller that we have on the wall switch, and go here on the actions. So you can see these are local actions. So even if you allow the cloud remote control and you lose that connectivity, you will still have the ability to control them locally using the HTTP commands. So in this case, I'm just setting lights on. The time, I do not care, anytime that I push the button. The condition here is when the button is pushed. They are different as 1 push, 2 push, or 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and a long push. So this one is just for 1 press. And the URLs. So here, for example, I have this IP address is getting to turn on the relay valve, the regular valve that we have there. And in this case, there's a way we have an RGBW because we have here red, green, blue, white. So this one is getting into 15% of brightness, turning on, and getting just into white. You see 0, 0, 0 in the other one, so it's just turning the light, the RGBW strip light into white. So this is a good way to control to control the devices within HTTP commands. And this is also how you can add that integration with other platforms. So every device is going to have their own IP, and you can control them or get the information, the data, the status, also using this type of commands. And I mentioned that you can add scripting. So Plus Gen 3 devices, they have the ability to add micro scripting, micro JavaScript there, code. So you are going to be able to extend the functionality. There are many examples on the Shelly, the Altarco GitHub. It's here on the bottom. So if you want to get a look at that, there are many things really useful that you can use to extend the functionality. Okay, so this is just an overview of all the integrations that you can have on the different platforms and different ways to connect the devices. So really almost work with everything. And here are all the useful links from the browser itself, the knowledge base, Shelly University, where you have different videos and how-to videos explaining the devices. The support group that's open to the whole community, even the end consumers and professionals, everyone is there. The YouTube page for support tickets, frequently asked questions, our product guideline, where you will find specifics on wiring, use cases on all the devices. information on the HTTP or webhooks, the API, that it's open and it's available there in the knowledge base. The API documentation, example on scripting, a Shelly provisioning tool that we can cover in some future webinar, more advanced, and see how we can provision that massively using the tool instead of doing one at a time. And the links for different drivers, mainly for control for Crestron and URC that you can find there. So we are getting to the end. I want to really thank you for your time and attending today's webinar. And please